Ultra Nightmare is the gayest, hardest difficulty in Doom Eternal. No one can deny that. Having to play through the game without dying on Nightmare difficulty is an incredible feat that not many can pull off. People are unsure of their own skills in the game, and they're not willing to give Ultra Nightmare a try. I was even scared when I gave Ultra Nightmare a try. It's not easy. I've restarted my run plenty of times, and there are plenty of points in the campaign that can really mess up players. Another thing is that players are unsure of where to start and how to begin. This is where this video will come in. I'll give some advice on how to get started and explain some tricks I've come up with to get through some of the toughest situations. I'm not here to tell you how to play the game. Everyone has their own style. I'm here to give you some pointers for Ultra Nightmare so you can incorporate these points into your runs and be more aware of them in the future. So, as the Lord and Savior once said to the Doomslayer,
"Let me help you to see, Slayer."
So, the first point, how to get started. For me, I ran through the game one level at a time. I simply don't have the time or experience to dedicate several hours in a day to complete Ultra Nightmare in one go. Keep this in mind because that's how I will approach my explanations on this subject. To get started, I would create two save files, a regular Nightmare save file and a secondary Ultra Nightmare file. The reason for this is because you want to prepare yourself ahead of time for the levels. Play the levels first on the Nightmare save file. The first mission is Hell on Earth, so once you beat it, play it over and over again until you reach a point where you no longer die and you can play the level comfortably. That's when you know you're ready for Ultra Nightmare. You repeat this process for each mission. Don't forget, you can save in between levels so you don't have to jump into the next one. You could just beat a single level and call it a day. It's a lengthy process, but you'll become very comfortable with the game and your Ultra Nightmare run. Now for the real meat and potatoes of this subject matter, I'm going to give some pointers for you guys to help you rip and tear into your gameplay. I'm pretty much going to run through each level and show you my approach to certain sections of the game that I find difficult. I won't be running through a majority of the combat encounters because everyone has their own strategies for certain fights. I'll comment on the ones that really shake up the player and are worth pointing out. So, let's begin with Hell on Earth. The first immediate choke point is the very first Arachnotron. Due to our limited mobility, health, and weapons, it can be a pain to fight. However, I've come up with a pretty good solution to this problem. You want to lure the Arachnotron towards the bomb for the extra damage. Not only will this cripple him, but it'll knock out its turret. You can dump your entire sticky bomb clip before going in for a full auto finisher. The rest is history. You can switch it up with the heavy cannon in the next encounter to help conserve your ammo and help soften that bad boy up for a glory kill. This next area is rather claustrophobic, and it sucks to fight the Arachnotron here. I'm here to tell you that you don't have to do any fighting. This entire encounter is skippable. You can bunny hop past that bad boy and jump to the next encounter. There, you'll get a chance to upgrade your heavy cannon. My recommendation would be to go for the micro missiles. These things are awesome early game heavy demon shredder. With a quick burst of micro missiles against Arachnotrons and Hell Knights, you'll decimate most demons with this thing. Finally, there's the last encounter, which can be pretty tough. I recommend taking out the Kago demons and getting the high ground as soon as possible. The rest comes with experience. Next up is Exultia. The first bit of the level throws in a mix of Hell Knights, Arachnotrons, and Kago demons. It's up to you for what order you want to take these guys out. However, things get interesting once you go through the portal and encounter your first Revenant. The Revenant's going to drop down from the sky next to a bomb. Dump your sticky bombs and or grenades in that spot and he's dead as quickly as he shows up. This next bit with the tentacles is extremely annoying. I have a skip I used to bypass this entire section, but you need to be quick. You want to align yourself between the two corpses up above, and if you want to get this right, you want to double jump, dash forward and dash right. You'll find yourself on a small little ledge with a climbable wall, and you can advance to the next area. Kind of like the last point, there's another section of the level covered in that annoying purple goo. You can get to an advantageous position right away by getting on the ledge right here and jump dashing to the nearest safe spot. This next spot, this level sure loves its goo. An Arachnotron will drop down from above, so if you want to retain your mobility, get to the edge and dash forward and backwards right away to lure it out. That way, you can use that entire back area to move at normal speed and kill it. For the area with the falling platforms, you can just jump over a majority of this section and get to the end before the Arachnotron gets a chance to jump down. Alternatively, you can wait for it to get down before you climb up. That way you don't have to deal with it and you can bypass that entire scuffle. Ah yes, the first Slayer Gate. How this brings me so much joy. You're going to be swarmed with a bunch of fodder demons, so just use your AoE and you'll be fine. It's when the Dread Knights show up that this encounter gets difficult. One of them spawns next to a bomb, so use that to your advantage to cripple him like I'm doing here. Keep your distance from the other one and try to use the environment to your advantage and you'll be fine. This last encounter in the level throws everything at you. You can go through the portal here and get the jump on the Arachnotron before it gets the chance to fight back. If you ever get into a pickle, don't forget your trusty quad damage power up that's nearby. Cultist Base is probably one of the hardest levels in the game. The difficulty spikes up considerably from here, so get your cheeks ready. The level's pretty simple until your first Mancubus encounter. Use the Ice Bomb as soon as you start the fight, take out his weak points and kill him. Next, you can save yourself a bunch of ammo by camping in that corner until the other two Mancubi fall under that axe trap where you can insta-kill them. You can do the same thing for when you get back into this room a minute or two later. This is another difficult encounter in Cultist Base due to the open area, meaning the Mancubi have an easier time hitting you. If you move around the arena quickly, you can gather up the demons into one spot and hit them with the splash damage from the rocket launcher, sticky bombs, and your grenades. Do not underestimate the splash damage of the rocket. It is still an invaluable part of your arsenal, even without its mods. In the first encounter with the Whiplashes, take out the first one as fast as you can and get to the high ground. There, more Whiplashes will spawn. Fire a rocket at the bombs next to Whiplashes, and the combined splash damage will really do a number on them. Now for a tough encounter. This encounter gets scary once you kill the Arachnotron and the walls are on fire. Make sure to keep the explosive dudes safe because they will one-shot the Mancubus for you. Just line up the shot and save yourself the trouble. If that fails, use the Ice Bomb to give yourself some breathing room. Now that we have the Super Shotgun, we can relax a bit. There's a small encounter you can skip by using the Clamber. Jump onto this first pillar here, go straight up, and just ignore the stuff on the side because that will start the encounter. Once you're up, you can jump onto the platform and continue on your way. For the next encounter, just use the Explodey Boys to take out the Revenant and the Mancubus. Just be quick about it. As for the Slayer Gate, the best thing I can say is to prioritize the biggest demons. Prowlers aren't too bad as long as you keep moving. The last arena in Cultist Base is fairly open, so use your AoE when you can. Try to gather the demons into one spot and give them hell with your splash damage. I would argue that this is the easiest level in the entire campaign, especially once you master how to take down the Doom Hunters. The very first encounter is the hardest. Once you've cleared that, you don't have to worry at all until you get to the bosses. You can skip this encounter and jump directly to the platform in the next section, like you see here. This other section is also skippable, but you'll have the Cocker Demon following you around. It's not bad as long as you keep on moving. Now here's a useful skip. Once you clamber on the wall right before the Doom Hunter fight, there's an encounter on a narrow platform. Instead of doing all that, you can launch yourself straight up and over this wall here to get to the room. You skip the entire fight by doing this. Now for the Doom Hunters. You have one of two approaches for this, and you can combine them both. The first method is AoE. This is using your sticky bombs, grenades, and rocket launcher. The next is direct damage to the sled with the Blood Punch, Super Shotgun, and either mod for the heavy cannon. The first Doom Hunter is the easiest in my opinion. The second phase with the two Doom Hunters is when it gets a little tricky. Keep your distance and try to knock out the sled of one of the Doom Hunters as soon as possible. However, do not kill them. What you want to do is destroy the sleds on both the Doom Hunters before finishing them off. The reason for this is because Prowlers and Carcasses spawn after one is defeated, and they can really hinder the process. It's best to kill them back to back after you've destroyed their sleds, and you can lock on burst them to death very quickly. Super Gore Nest is a wacky little level because it's here where you get access to your full arsenal. It should be around this time where you can really make good progress on your weapon masteries, especially on the Slayer Gate later down the road. A tricky little section is the pillar room with the Prowlers and the Carcasses because there's a buff totem nearby. Go to this back right portal to make your way directly to the buff totem. Another tricky spot is where you get the chain gun because you're presented with a Dread Knight in close quarters. Just lock on burst to get rid of him and save yourself the trouble. You can skip this entire encounter by using the Revenant here to meat hook onto the pole and dash towards the ledge. None of the demons will really catch up to you, so you're safe from here. The Slayer Gate is going to throw a bunch of fodder demons your way right off the get-go. Use this time to progress in your weapon masteries. You might be able to even finish some masteries as well. This arena has a lot of linear pathways, which makes it the perfect arena for the Destroyer Blade because the enemies are concentrated through one point. Once you get to the escape sequence, you can just run past everything, but you have more than enough time to handle an encounter or two. This is another one of the difficult levels because the game acknowledges you have your full arsenal and doesn't hold back its punches anymore. There's this section where you drop down and you're surrounded by fodder demons as the whiplashes come in through the entrance. Take out the whiplashes as fast as possible with either the Destroyer Blade or whatever preferred method you have. There's a lot of narrow sections which are perfect for the Destroyer Blade because it will cut through all of the demons. Remember when I said I loved the Destroyer Blade in the last video? It's because of all these narrow hallways. This Slayer Gate is the hardest one in my opinion. This one introduces you to Tyrants and marks the return of the Doom Hunter. These Tyrants aren't too bad, but they're a pest if left unchecked. Try to take them out as soon as possible along with the Mancubi. My personal recommendation is to move around and use them as much splash damage as possible to take out all of the demons that huddle up in this arena. Remember what I said about the ice bombs in my last video? Well, being the big old derp that I am, I can do this once the poor Doom Hunter spawns. Seriously, I think I've bullied him enough as is. After the Doom Hunter, the rest of the encounter is pretty easy as it introduces you to Barons. Once you're back and go into the airplane section, a bunch of enemies will spawn inside the hull of the plane. You know what time it is! Destroyer time. When you drop down into the room with the Berserk power-up, you can use your trusty destroyer blades to kill a majority of the demons and hit the Mancubi hard. This is a personal preference, but I would wait until the whiplashes start showing up for me to use the Berserk power-up. That way, I can just spam the trigger button until the encounter is over. You can brush past this tunnel area with the tentacles and the Hell Knight by hugging the wall here and jumping directly to the hole and save yourself a minute or two. The last difficult bit is at the end of the level with Daddy Marauder. Keep your distance and bait him into attacking you and you'll be fine. If you see him charging towards you, that's the best time to charge towards him and dunk him with your weapon switching combos. This is the second easiest level in the game in my opinion, because there aren't a lot of intense encounters and most of them can be easily bypassed by the BFG once you get it. You can start off by moving past everything in this first section like you see here. Don't waste your time. For this next section, use the meat hook on a demon to propel yourself onto this platform and keep advancing. A little bit later, you're introduced to Tentacle Hell and the gargoyle spawns just above. Use the meat hook on that bad boy to swing to the pole and get to the rune. There's another skip later where you can move past the fight with the Baron as long as you keep the high ground and kill the Cocodemons. You can also just ignore the Arachnotron and just grab the BFG route. You have one of two routes you can take here. You can kill all the zombies down below to really replenish your HP, or you can go around the side right here and skip that little sequence. Then you can just climb up and jump over the platform so you can avoid the Pain Elemental and the Dread Knight. Just be careful about the Sentinel battery because I forgot it once or twice. This Slayer gate here can be a bit tough in the beginning if you don't know how to handle yourself. This marks the first reappearance of the Marauder besides Taras Nabad and the introduction of the Maker drones. None of the side enemies are terrible, but are a pain in the ass if you're trying to focus on Daddy Marauder. If you're low on ammo, pick off the Maker drones with a headshot and be sure to use the explosives around the arena to deal some good damage on that bad boy. Alternatively, you can forego weapon switching and just use a bunch of AoE while keeping your distance. It's not as fast as the normal method, but it's also effective. The rest of the Slayer gate is pretty easy after this. So is the rest of the level as long as you keep moving and prioritize the most cumbersome demons in your opinion. This level, along with Cultist Base, are admittedly the hardest two levels in the game besides Final Sin. The Gladiator can really mess up your run if you don't know what you're doing. I'll share with you a couple tricks that I've picked up to make this fight more manageable. I'm pretty sure this has been shown off before, but the Gladiator starts the fight off with a telegraphed attack. You can counter with a quick ballista shot or anything for that matter to do some damage. After this, you should keep your distance for the most part and weapon switch between the PB and ballista. It's okay if you miss the Q because you'll still have a brief window to do some damage to him, so don't let any opportunity go to waste. Another method that I actually just discovered while gathering footage for this video is to circle strafe him. Keep your super shotty and whatever secondary weapon you like ready. He'll go in for the swing and you want to dash to the left immediately as he does this. If you hit the Q, great. If you don't, you'll be moving into his flank and have a good time shooting him while he's retracting his weapon. This method absolutely trivializes this entire first phase. The second phase here is much easier than the first, except for when he does his little barrier attack, which we'll get into just a sec. Here, you can either attack him with a lock-on burst or weapon switch his ass while he's just flailing about. It's super easy to dodge as long as you're a jumpy boy like me. When he does the barrier attack, you are given an extended period of time to attack him, but you have to be pretty snappy with your dodging, or you'll take a lot of damage. You could do a lock-on burst like I do here, or use the shield turret to eat the damage. Just keep on jumping because the low sweeping attacks will hit you, so it's best to keep on jumping and eat the damage from the higher chains with your shield. You're approaching the end of the game now with 4 levels left. This is where it'll start to throw everything it has at you. In this first encounter, you can cheese the entire arena with the quad damage, so be sure to use it like you see here. For the area with the eyeballs, take out the pain elementals first because they'll get in the way. You then use your shield turret mod to eat the damage while you destroy the eyes, one by one. It's very easy if you have nothing else to worry about. For the next big arena, you have a crusher trap, so be sure to use it to your advantage. It'll save you a lot of ammo and trouble. Just be wary of the archvile that spawns at the end. For the arena with the buff totem, just meat hook the Cyber Mancubus to swing to the buff totem and debuff all the demons there. The encounter with the Marauder can be tough because whiplashes are a pain. Take out that side demon so you can focus all of your energy into the Marauder. A lot of this level is pretty straightforward combat. I'd say this is another one of the easier levels because you have a lot of room for creativity and you get to perform whatever little trick you want to pull off. Though, one encounter you should really be wary of is the room with the eyeballs. Like the last level, I would recommend using the shield turret to safely dispatch the first one. A Dread Knight will come out to disturb you, so take him out as soon as possible. Make sure all the other demons are out of the picture, like the gargoyles and such, so that way you don't get killed by them during the cutscene. Other than that, there's not a whole lot I can say on this level besides put that horny boy back to horny jail with the microwave beam. Ooh boy, we're almost there. Urdak isn't as hard as I remembered it. Sure, the difficult arenas are still there, but once you figure out your rhythm, it's actually not that bad. Make your drones are plentiful in this level, so try to get headshots as much as possible. You'll never run out of ammo as long as you manage your weapons and enemies properly. Fighting the Marauder is kind of easy in this next arena because instead of going up the ramp like a normal person, the Marauder does a Mario jump over instead. It's really weird. This is the toughest arena in the level in my opinion. Fortunately, you have lots of options. After you take out the buff totem, fire a BFG round once the tyrant shows up so you can isolate him from his friends. Once you do that, he's pretty easy to dispose of. Now for the Con Maker. Remember how I said that if you manage your shots with the Maker drones, you'll never run out of ammo? This is key for taking care of the Con Maker quickly. Just double lock on burst and go in for the Blood Punch. Immediately kill a Maker drone to replenish your ammo and repeat the process for the rest of the fight. It is ridiculously easy. I'd say this is the most brain dead boss fight in the game, so you guys got this in the bag. This is it, we're at the final level. Naturally, you're going to feel very nervous on your Ultra Nightmare run, even if you breeze past this on your practice runs. Take as long as you need for this level. Being as comfortable as possible is key for success in this final battle. The first encounter is standard enough. Just crucible the tyrant and screw the Doom Hunter over and you'll be fine. For this bit where the icon walks through the pathway and the Hell Knight comes up, shoot an ice bomb the second the carcass spawns so you can freeze all the demons. Then you can kill them with your trusty Destroyer Blade. This level also gives you an unholy amount of BFG shots, so don't feel bad about using any of them if you ever feel like you're in a pickle. There's a squad of demons that will try to get the drop on you here if you grab the BFG shot. It's pretty easy to dispose of them, so take your time and don't stress. You can skip this next segment full of demons until you get to the top floor. Just be quick or you'll take a lot of damage from the Mancubi. Once the Marauder spawns up here, take out the Revenant and all the fast fodder demons because they'll really throw off your groove against the Marauder. It's best to focus on this guy when he's by himself, so isolate the Marauder as much as you can. In the last encounter level, just freeze the demons to give yourself a bit of breathing room to grab the BFG ammo and jump on the hover pad. Dash to this ledge so you can go to the other side. Jump onto the pole and swing onto the ledge just above to get to the next floor. Then just keep going up until you're at the top floor. Boom, that entire encounter is skipped and you can get to the real meat and potatoes of this level. By this point, you have more than enough BFG shots, so once you have a clear view, shoot a BFG round between the two buildings on the outside. That way, it can stay around long enough to kill the additional Pain Elemental and trigger the Marauder fight right away. Same business as usual, isolate that bad boy and take care of him. There's an Archvile that spawns after the Marauder, so get an easy kill with the Crucible and be on your way to the Icon of Slint. Ah yes, the Icon of Sin. This is where the fun begins. Phase 1 is the easiest phase because you can get the Icon of Sin into a stun lock of sorts if you destroy his armor pieces fast enough. If you want to get through the fight quickly, use only 3 BFG rounds for phase 1. Your rounds should be capped off by the time you walk in, so use them both plus an additional one from the arena. Save the other 2 rounds for phase 2. Start off by knocking out his waist and head pieces. The third one is up to you. When it comes to targeting the head, wait until he does his projectile volley from his forehead. That'll give you a clear shot at his headpiece. Weapon switching is key for getting through this fight quickly, or you'll find yourself getting into a tighter spot the longer the fight goes on. Shorter equals better. And I'm not talking about speedrunning. For his arms, use a mix of either Super Shotgun, Precision Bolt, or PB Ballista. Chill around the front of the icon right here. Use the bounce pads to constantly get in the air, as that will give you a better view of his limbs so you can shoot them. He'll try to hit you when he can, so get a feel for when he's going in for the swing and move to a safe position. Once you make your way to the chest, you can transition to PB Rocket, as his chest won't be moving around too much, so your rockets will pretty much hit. Once you're through with phase 1, make sure your BFG is full and jump right in.
Fully destroyed, the body is now exposed.
This is the hardest phase because you can't stun lock him like you did before. He'll keep on fighting no matter what. What makes it easier this time around is that you have 5 BFG shots to spare, so knock out his waist and head like in the last phase, and the rest is up to you. My personal preference would be to knock out his arms, as those can be pretty difficult to hit. But if you don't trust your aim, then take out the chest. When he does his projectile attack, this is the best time for you to land your BFG shots, as he stands completely still, so you'll have plenty of time to hit your shots. Just be careful if you get close, because that increases the chance of those same projectiles hitting you in the process. Once you've dumped all of your BFG rounds into him, keep your distance with PB Ballista and Super Shotgun PB. Getting close allows him to smack you for some serious damage, so stay away from him. If you're running low on health, you have a full restore chilling in the center of the arena, and if that isn't available, use the Crucible to one-shot the demons, and don't forget to Flame Belch in the process so you can get some armor back too. This is going to be a tedious phase, but landing all of your BFG shots will really save you so much time. Keep your distance, change your weapon combos depending on where you're positioned, and kill enemies when you need to if they get in your way, and you'll be fine. Again, take as much time as you need to figure out the little intricacies of this fight until you feel comfortable diving in. I hope this guide was able to teach you a few tricks. I didn't go over every encounter because I feel as though everyone should be able to express themselves in their own way. I don't want to tell you how to play the game. I gave some personal suggestions, but it's ultimately up to you on how you want to approach a situation. At the very least, I just wanted to make players aware of some of the challenges that may arise in this difficulty so they can be more prepared. I don't have a whole lot of time or willpower to play Doom for hours on end, so training for Ultra Nightmare and beating it took me a year to complete. This is including all of my failed runs and a month-long break I took from the game because of how draining it all was. However, the satisfaction upon beating it is very rewarding. Now that I'm done with that, it's time for me to tackle Ancient Gods Part 1.